right here. Coming at you. I have not been live in a long time. Tina wants to know who in the heck I'm talking to. She's like, what are you, why are you talking to yourself, Danny? Right, Tina? Right? You want to know what's going on. So anyway, I'm getting myself situated. I'm going to do a rough start. See that blank sheet of art paper? That's going to be a future painting. So I'm getting things set up. One of the critical steps in making a painting happen, get born, if you will, is of course going to be this right here. And it was outside, so I had to come get it. My art is always sponsored by Monster Nitro. So yeah, let me carry this inside very carefully. You don't spill it. I'd be better off drinking booze. It would be cheaper, but I'm sticking with Monster Nitro. I also need to make sure all my dogs are in here. Really, that one there. Okay, yeah, she's on the chair, so we're good. Okay, because she can be a rascal. She can be a real rascal, especially when I'm trying to do something. So can this one there, but I've got eyes on her. That's Tina. And the one in the chair is Sally. Looks like the lighting is fairly sufficient for what I'm about to do. I'm going to put my drink right here. Okay, got to be careful with the drink. Get my little sheet of paper, my reference. Got like this board. I'm going to carry them on over, and I'm just going to do some lap art. No, not lap dances. I'm not doing any of those. I'm sorry. I hate to disappoint you, but that's not happening. You'll see my art fell on the floor. This is my reference. Today, I'm going to be painting barn quilt. Barn quilt. I've spent a lot of time down in the South, and I wasn't born here, but most of where I have lived has been predominantly in the Southeast of America, when I say South. And I've always seen these things, and I always wonder, why does that look like there's a quilt hanging on the side of a barn? I never understood that, and it was today that I did actual research for myself to better my knowledge and my understanding, which is never a bad thing. Yeah, it's never a bad thing. Hang on, I'm twisting this around here. Okay, I think you can see it now. There we are. So I never understood what these were, these designs on the sides of barns. I looked it up, and I have learned that they are called barn quilts. It's a barn quilt. It's not a quilt, but it's on wood, and it's painted in sort of the geometric configuration of what you would see on grandma's quilting. But they're more of a, they sort of have a community cultural representation effect. And I never knew that. And that's why I've seen so many of them that look so different. And it sort of compelled me to do a painting of a barn. I'm sorry, I keep flipping the phone, keep flipping it. So this is the image that talked to me, and I'm going to paint this. So when I do paintings, I will always start with just a blank surface, and I also don't just do paper or canvas. I'm kind of I'm referred to as a folk artist, so I will literally paint on anything, including items, objects, wood, that sort of thing. But today I'm doing paper, and I always start with Sharpie is my friend. Okay, I don't do sketches. My sketches turn into paintings. I don't have a portfolio. Everything I've ever done is somewhere else because somebody got it. But anyway, this is how this one's going to start off. I'm going to leave on this piece of paper. I don't know. I guess I'm going to do this while I'm holding the phone. I'm not sure because this is big. This is probably, I think this is, I'm going with 18 by 24 piece of paper. And so I'll do a square kind of within these limits right here. So for the purposes of framing, I'll kind of just do a little dot inside the areas here of what I'm going to work with. Now, that being said, this is what my subject is going to be. So yeah, you could use rulers, you could think about it, you could worry about all the perfection, but I don't do that. I just get right to business. So what I'm looking at here is kind of what's in this corner and comparing it to my paper. So I'm sort of doing a mental grid, if you will. And on this half of the paper right here, that about is what is going to appear from here over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just start sketching. And I'm not going to look at my phone that's doing the filming because it's just a bit too distracting. I'm just going to look at my image and do some sketching, and I'll let you follow the pen. Here we go. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Mr. 8, and here goes nothing. This is Quilt Barn, rough start, and I just use a real light hand. I'm not going for perfection. Barns are not perfect. I know because I've seen a lot of them out here in the South, and there's a certain beauty in imperfection, at least in my estimation. That's what I believe. Okay, so there's a little window right here at the top. I'm going to work on this window. You know what? I'm going to try to just put my phone where I need a cameraman or woman. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to rock on with holding it. So the roof line sort of goes back a bit. Okay, and now I'm going to, so that's what we're looking at here. Sort of like that. And then this barn is kind of on a hill. It's kind of on a hill, so I'm going to go down, and the back part goes way down, and then the front, kind of the front of the barn where the quilt is displayed is higher up. So it's sort of like a kind of like a basement or crawl space. So I'm going to put some rocks right here. Looks like there's stones sort of built up there in that area. So I'm just doing some loosely roughing out some stones. I'm going to be painting on top of this. This will end up as acrylic. Okay, so it's going to be really, really thick and chunky. So again, I'm just lining up what's going to go where. So here's the two windows. They got a little bit of shadow down below, and you can also see right here the shadow of the tree. That's neat. I like that with the leaves coming through. So I'll also be incorporating that. So again, this is kind of my rough layout of that. Before I get to this window, I'm going to do these windows right here. Let's go ahead and mess with these 4 windows on the side. And it appears that they do have window panes. And then there's the seam going down the center. It's missing some wood here too. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get on that one. So 4 windows coming up. We also have some shadow coming down here from this thing. So again, this is just really light. It is not going to be a ink pen piece of art. This is just how I'm laying everything out. Just kind of line things up a little bit. Okay, now let's get to this window and our barn quilt. Let's just get right to it. There's our window. That does not have a pane, and it's very dark and black. Going in. There's a seam there with some shading. Okay. All right. I'm kind of digging it so far. Let's see here. Okay, so that's going to be our barn quilt. I'm not going to go heavy on that, and I'm not going to worry about that quite yet, the design inside. I'm just putting the board that it's on for now. We got a seam here at the roof, so that's what that is. And then here, there's also that seam that I talked about earlier, and it goes right up to the top of the windows. So I'm not doing a perfect seam, just a little rustic little seam. Okay, now we are going to, let's see, put some of this weeds and bushes. And is this an entrance? What's going on here? Looks like, so it's a stoop with stacked stones and maybe 1 or 2 pavers going into the yard, and then everything else is just grass and vegetation. Okay, so let's add it. So the vegetation comes right up to this little wall here. So I'm just doing little squiggly, healthy little trees and weeds. And a lot of the detail in these will be when I come back with the paintbrush. And in the meantime, the technique I'm using is also very, very relying on how I'm holding the pen, what kind of pressure I'm putting. This just helps me mentally know what it's supposed to look like when I do it, when I do paint. So we got a weed going on there. Okay, now let's do our little stacked stones underneath the building, and they're kind of long, they're sort of oblong, and they have mortar in between. And it's only a couple of levels high. Something like that, right? Okay, and then we got the paver coming out into the yard, like so. Like that. We'll do just a couple little pavers going into the yard. And there's some more vegetation going on. Just small ones, though, just like little weeds. All right. Two windows underneath the quilt. These windows right there. I'm going to do those now. Two windows. They do have panes. 6-pane windows. Not very big. Really just for the purpose of letting light into the structure. There's one. This one's going to be a little bit smaller because it's further off. Two. Okay. Let's do the panes. And there's one. 2 panes. Is it dark in there? They got junk up again. Looks like hay. There's hay. Hey, I'm going to do it dark. Okay. So this is like the back side of the barn. There's no door. And that just happens to be where the quilt is displayed. And usually that's in the direction of traffic or where obviously it can be seen. That's what they want when you do this. Okay. All right. A little bit of shadow underneath the windows. Another one over here. Okay. Now we'll do this edge down here. Let's start putting some grass blades in because this is all going to be yard. And we have a bunch of trees over on this side, kind of hanging off over the edges. Okay, so I'm going to have to fake the funk on the roof. I've got a little bit of a different angle than what is in my subject there, but that's okay. Usually it's a tin roof, and the tin has, in this case, it would be vertically aligned slats so the rain will run off. So I'm just going to do and when I paint it, I'll do a nice sort of rusty silver paint on the roof. Okay, so there's that. And again, these windows are dark in here, so let me darken our windows up. Dark, dark, dark. And again, if you're just tuning in, hi, thanks for checking it out. I'm Mr. 8. I'm an artist. The algorithm hates me, so I don't know how you found me at all. I don't know what's up with that, but if you like art, please subscribe. If you like music, please subscribe, because I do both. That's what I do. This is a rough start on a painting of what you see in the South, these barn quilts. So this is my reference photo I'm using, and this is just a rough start in ink on art paper. It will end up painted with acrylics and then in a frame, but this is just a rough start. I like to do it on the fly. I'm kind of mobile, and I don't like to be held in one place and have all my stuff kind of tied up. I like to paint wherever I'm at. Right now I'm at the studio. I just happen to be here, but I'll paint out in the wild, out next to businesses, landscape areas. I love painting and sketching and just capturing the moment. That's what I do. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to continue on with the trees before I finally get to the whole meat and potatoes of this, which is the barn quilt. I haven't started that yet. I'm just kind of lining everything up as far as how it's going to look, and I'm very happy with it. And it's not easy doing it while holding a camera in one hand. So you got to bear with me. Sorry for the shaky shots. I'm definitely not a cinematographer. I'm just an artist. I'm just an artist. Okay. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, so there's a tree up above it here. So I'm going to go ahead and start just roughing out some trees and branches. They're pretty big. They're pretty big. Probably like oaks. They're definitely not pines. So there's one coming out from behind it. And let me go ahead and work on those slat roofs up here. And again, I'm not going for perfect. Just going for being able to kind of figure out what's going on. That's all I really care about. All right. Okay. Again, I'm sorry for all the shake and quake. It is just me, and it ain't easy doing this while you're holding a phone. Hi, Sally. Hi, Sally. She's knocked out. Okay, so we got some foliage on the trees. We got some growth. So let me go ahead and just kind of rough it in. And again, this is just a rough start. I will be painting it. Just kind of helps me line everything up, right? Yeah. It's starting to look like a old barn, though. That's kind of neato. It's kind of cool. Big old tree there.